Garp versus Blackbeard. Who will come out on top? Hello One Piece enthusiasts, I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about Garp versus Blackbeard. So this is a fascinating matchup. No one really thought about it, but once Oda put it on the table, now we can think about it and speculate. Before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe, it helps the channel out a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. So as of chapter 1071, the setup of Garp going to Hachinosu in order to save Kobe is a set in stone thing. It's going to happen. He's not going anywhere else. He's not going to Winner's Island. He's not going to Elbaf. He is going to Hachinosu, the territory of Blackbeard, former home base of Rocks. And when you tie everything together, Garp being, a marine of the time of Rocks, he's fought Rocks, he's defeated Rocks along with Roger, and fought together and defeated Rocks, and is going to the turf of one of the biggest enemies he's ever faced in his life. And now Blackbeard is sort of like a reincarnation of Rocks. And when you imagine that matchup now, there are a lot of possibilities that can go, a lot of things that can happen, and I feel like could be very pivotal for the story. So where do I want to start with this? I want to start with who will come out on top. I feel like if it's a battle between Garp and Blackbeard, if Garp doesn't interfere between the battle between Law and Blackbeard, like Rayleigh did with Blackbeard versus Boa Hancock, I think Garp is going to lose. In a straight up fight, with Blackbeard having Haki as well as the two Devil Fruits, and Garp not being at his prime, he's got backup, but it's Blackbeard, honestly. I don't ever imagine Garp winning against Blackbeard. Maybe it's a high difficulty fight for Blackbeard. It'll definitely be high difficulty because remember, in Marineford, Sengoku stopped Garp in order to prevent him from fighting Akainu, because Sengoku definitely knew that Garp was capable of taking Akainu down. Even at his old age, he's still a prominent fighter the same way Rayleigh is, and I would say he's still better because he's in practice. Rayleigh's been out of form. He hasn't fought major battles ever since the Roger crew disbanded, but for Garp, he's still involved in the Navy. He still fights on occasions, definitely not fights on the level of the way he did against Roger, Whitebeard, Rocks, and whatever, but he still does. He's still a fighter in experience, and, well, you can think of his fighting abilities not going down the same way it has for Rayleigh. So, obviously, the matchup is not the same, and I feel like Garp has more of a shot of beating Blackbeard than Rayleigh did. But just because of Garp's sheer reputation, it's entirely possible that Blackbeard won't be confronting him, but anyways, this is a scenario of if Garp confronts Blackbeard, and so I'd like to believe that it's entirely if Blackbeard isn't worn out from his fight against Law, Blackbeard will come out on top. High difficulty, it's entirely possible that Garp actually wins this one because of his rage. So, because of the sheer sort of magnitude of willpower he has in order to save Kobe, I feel like, yeah, he could definitely do it. He could definitely beat Blackbeard. But considering he's the main antagonist, Blackbeard is one of the main antagonists of the story, I don't see it ever happening. In fact, I only see Garp losing, if not dying. With that cat out of the bag, let me know what you guys think. But one thing that has also brought up my eyes is the fact that the possibility of Garp and Blackbeard meeting in this time frame is almost impossible. Because, okay, let's also think about situations that might help Garp to take down Blackbeard before you do. He's got Kuzan. We know Kuzan's got some sort of an affiliation with the Marines. He is a double agent, and Blackbeard trusts no one in his crew, and the same could be said for Aokiji. Everything's been set up in a way, Aokiji has been set up in a way where he is to keep Blackbeard under wraps, monitor his movements, and make sure he doesn't do anything insanely crazy, or, somehow help destroy it from the inside, give Marines inside information, or even store it for that matter. So which is what I like to believe, yeah, Aokiji is definitely, I've already made a video on it, go check it out. feel like, yeah, Aokiji is still on the side with the Marines, and if we go back to the past, Garp and Aokiji were very good friends, and when you imagine the situation of Garp trying to save Kobe, I think Kuzan would like to help him out, and I feel like this is the sort of opportunity that he's been waiting for. In fact, the whole thing about why he abducted Kobe, I also speculated that Kobe might have just, surrendered himself to Blackbeard because it's part of a scheme. Part of the scheme for swords. Maybe. Or even for the Marines. Not necessarily sword. But my point is, if it was a scheme from Kobe, even if it wasn't a scheme, Aokiji is there. Garp is definitely going to be taking like Helmeppo. Smoker is probably going with him. We're definitely going to have allies of sword coming together in order to fight Blackbeard, and even X-Drake might even show up, because X-Drake and Kobe seems on friendly terms, and it's entirely possible that X-Drake is on his way to Hashinosu after hearing that news. So it could go either way, and Garp definitely will have help in a lot of ways. Now, the possibility of Garp fighting Blackbeard is almost impossible. I've said this before, because of this one simple statement. If the timeline is correct, as of right now, a lot of events are happening at the same time. Remember, Boa Hancock versus Blackbeard happened within the time frame of when the Straw Hats were in Wano. Everything after that, Law versus Blackbeard, Garp deciding to come to go to Hachinosu, Kobe being abducted, Straw Hats in Egghead, everything is happening at the same time. So you see where I'm going with this. Blackbeard is still not done with his fight against Law. Even if it takes Garp roughly around a day to go to Hachinosu, I don't believe that Blackbeard would be there within that time, because that fight could prolong to days, and I feel like he still has more to achieve rather than going back to Hachinosu. The probability of Kobe also being in Hachinosu is also very slim, but it's entirely possible, because you never know what Blackbeard is planning. We know that Pudding is still on the ship of Blackbeard, because obviously the time frame is added up in a way. The timeline is added up in a way where Blackbeard, before confronting with Law, Kuzan and Van Augur already made their way from Whole Cake Island to wherever in Winter's Island right now. And, well, Pudding is there, but that doesn't necessarily mean Kobe is there, because we don't really know the amount of gap that is there between Blackbeard going to Amazon Lily, capturing Kobe, and then Blackbeard coming to Winter's Island, waiting for Luffy or Law or Kid. So, okay, let's just say Kobe is in Hachinosu. If he is, Garp never mentioned anything about defeating Blackbeard. What he did mention was about rescuing Kobe. So, I don't think Garp is a wise man. He would know his limitations, and definitely he wouldn't want to fight against Blackbeard. Especially not in his condition, because his top priority right now is to save Kobe, not to declare war on a Yonko. So if, lucky for Garp, I like to believe that Blackbeard is still on Winter's Island fighting against Law. Garp will be going to Hachinosu, Kobe might be there. We might be seeing a fight between the commanders, some of the 10 Titanic captains, and between the Marines. It's entirely possible that a clash will happen. A lot of things could result from this. Catastrophic disasters may happen, but there won't be a confrontation between Blackbeard and Garp. Rather, what I'd like to believe is, Kobe will be rescued, because it's Kobe. And Garp might, and I don't see Garp dying, because Oda at this point in the story feel like he's very reluctant to kill off characters unless very necessary, and it's required for him to do a lot of build up for him to kill off characters, and especially since he's been bringing back dead characters for a very long time, I feel like Garp dying now makes very little sense. But what I'm trying to say is, what is most likely going to happen is there's not going to be a confrontation between Blackbeard and Garp, because there are still confrontations waiting for Blackbeard. I'm talking about Law, I'm talking about Shanks, I'm talking about Luffy. We don't need another major fight. However, we do need to see how strong Garp is, and how, in a way, Garp is able to mess everything up for Blackbeard a little bit. Because the guy's been perfectly scheming everything, every part of his move, ever since he was in Whitebeard's ship. It's about time he takes an L. And that too from Garp. I'd like to see that happening. And again, I'm not saying that a confrontation with Blackbeard and Garp would be uninteresting. It would definitely be interesting because it would give us sort of like an insight to the God Valley incident, because the only remaining members now who remembers the God Valley incident is Garp and Blackbeard, with the theory of him having 3 different personalities, one of which could be Rox, or maybe Rox was his mentor or something. Teach has probably looked up to Rox and studied his history, and maybe we could have a God Valley discussion. I think that'll be very interesting, but it's unlikely it'll happen, because if the clash between the 2 titans, one from the old era and one from now, does happen, it will likely result in a fatal blow for either one of them. I don't see it happening. That's it for the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.